Hey, this is Linz, and you are watching Support the Scene. Hi, my name is Linz, and this is Support the Scene. Today we have D3VO.
What up, what up, what up?
Hi.
It's good to be here. Thank you for having me.
You are a Canadian artist.
Yes, I am. I was born in Muskoka, Ontario. I was raised in the foothills in Calgary, just 15 minutes south of Calgary in a little town called Okotoks. That's where I graduated. I actually went to a fine arts school, so I had the benefit of using a full music studio and photography studio and light studio and contact room throughout my school. In high school, and that just led to furthering with musical arts and audio engineering and production.
Awesome. That's a really great beginner's foundation to have.
Absolutely, absolutely. I always found myself like, you got this song and it sounds super sick in your head, and then you find the perfect beat for it, and you got to pay for the beat, you got to pay your producer, and then by the time you get it mixed, mastered, engineered, like you're looking at minimum $1,000 per track. And for a lot of times, these, like, as an artist, you don't have just $1,000 to throw away on every single track, right? So
absolutely,
the more you can do on your own, and the more you don't have to rely on somebody else to do for you, the more efficient it is. 100%.
And your schooling, when did you start that? Are you like 16?
So I started with music, just like I said, once I got into high school. I'd already been making music for a little bit, and so I actually ended up having to switch some of my classes because I didn't know about all the studio programs and stuff when I was coming into the school. And then I learned that they had all these programs, so I had to switch up my schedule and change classes for my benefit classes because it was such a good opportunity. I'm so glad that I had that opportunity, seriously. But it would have started in high school, and then 2 years after high school, I'd say, is when I told myself, like, okay, I think like I want to do this music school stuff. So then I started sending out applications and stuff, and then got exceptions from a couple colleges. And like a lot of it too, you can do a lot of online schooling too. A lot of artists don't know that. A lot of stuff that you're going to pay to go to school for and you're going to learn in school, you can do online courses, and a lot of people provide these courses for low to little cost, like very little cost, and it's beneficial. Any learning you can do that's going to save you $1 when you're trying to get your mixes and masters done, it's going to benefit you as an artist, because you can put that artist into, or that money back into, like merchandise or advertising and marketing, which is also huge as an artist. You need it all. It's a full circle thing.
That's really good knowledge to know. Some people struggle to find how they can go to music school or just learn things, and sometimes there's YouTube, but it's knowing exactly the direct questions to
ask, and learning all the terminology. 100%.
So currently with music, what do you have going on right now?
Currently right now I'm working on an EP that's called Collect Calls. The last year and a bit, I got myself into some troubles, like with criminal issues that kind of changed my life, and so I've written and recorded actually on my own. It's the first of my tracks that I've completely tracked the vocals all by myself and done a slight mix by myself, and I have a good buddy of mine, shout out to Peach Jam Records, Kenton Edward. He's the CEO there. He's like my go-to man. He helps me with anything that I have to any questions I have, any learning curves that I have as far as the production side of things. He hooks me up with beats, and when awesome. I'm doing my mixes and masters and stuff, he's really educated me on plugins. And so it's always nice to have He's I call him the Dre to my Eminem.
That's awesome. Uh, any future projects that you have coming out?
I have a lot of singles. Like I've been just basically acquiring my own studio. I built my own home studio over the past 2 years, and just acquiring all the equipment so that I can, like I said, once again, lower the cost as far as studio time. That gets expensive. It's nice when you have the studio at your home, because anytime you're feeling creative or you're feeling like you want to make some art, you can really channel those emotions. And like I said, with these newer projects that I'm going to be coming up with, I'm just working on videos and trying to get the whole deal done. So I got everything. I'm working on merchandise and yeah, just kind of solidifying everything. But as far as future projects, I got some collaborations coming up as well, with some Canadian artists and other artists around the world. I got an artist out in Puerto Rico that we're working on a track together. He actually just sent me the beat tonight. So yeah, got a lot of things going on and hoping to just stay positive and keep moving forward through this new year.
Awesome. Do you have any name drops for these Canadian artists you're working with?
Maybe not. I don't have anything down pat yet as far as like recordings. I got one guy, his name's Locust. Shout out to Loc. He sent me a super sick verse for a little Canadian cipher that I'm doing, and Promise as well. So the owner of Raw Star Entertainment, his son has been making some music. He's a young cat, 16 years old, out of Calgary, and I sent him a couple of beats and kind of gave him an idea of what I was thinking. So we got some things in the works too, but we don't have anything right now currently laid down where other than the verse from Loc. So I've been really talking with a lot of artists and grouping out to get those features in. I've been talking with Young Stitch. That's a big feature that I'm working on because he's one of my idols. So
he's pretty amazing.
Have him willing to hop on a track with me. That's a super sick thing. He's a big light to Canadian art. He's super sick, and he's made a lot of moves, and he's really making his own wave. And I idolize the guy for this work ethic. Seriously, he's steady putting out music, and he's steady raising the bar high for these other Canadian artists. So shout out to Young Stitch.
Absolutely. He's definitely a hardworking go-getter. I know a lot of artists who he works with. He's changing up things for a lot of people in the scene, with the hard work that he puts in.
All the way from battle rap to now going #1 on iTunes. Seriously, man, he's come a long way. And I watched him back in his battles and always thought he was sick. And now we connected over social media, because I'm living in Ontario now, and Pickering's actually not that too far from me, so I'm gonna head up to his roads and make a movie with him, and that's gonna be a big thing. But everything's just still in the works. Like I said, speaking of Young Stitch, I met one of his boys when I was incarcerated, and it was super cool to connect with another fellow artist through that. Like, it was a shitty situation, but made good out of it. Like, he showed me some of his music, and I showed him some of my music. So I connected with another artist through Julian. So shout out.
Awesome. Well, touching back, a little bit of more you and music, what artist or songs really captivated you that made you really feel like you wanted to push and do music? Like, music was your everything.
Honestly, growing up, like music was all I really had. Like I found it as my coping mechanism and my way to get through life. Literally, I always had a headphone in my ear through school and stuff. I was always that kid that was playing his music too loud, and the teacher's telling us me to turn it down because the other students can hear it and stuff. And it wasn't until I was probably 12 to 14 where I started realizing that I wanted to make my own music. And from there, it was steady, just practicing, and getting to the level where I'm comfortable showing other people my music, and then releasing music, doing music videos. And like I said, I'm still very green. I got a lot to learn and a long way to go, but it's super cool. It's endless opportunities for growing with music. It's never ending. You're always able to learn and continue. Big artists for me, like Russ is 100% one of my biggest inspirations, as far as he's a DIY pioneer. He does everything himself, and he built his own leverage before label leverage, so he was able to leverage himself before signing a deal. So he's just got a lot of knowledge as far as art to the industry, and he's one of my big inspirations. I'd say J. Cole as well is a big inspiration of mine. And as far as Canadian artists, definitely Mercules and Young Stitch and all the Stomp Down cats. They all work hard, and yeah, big inspirations. Junk especially as well.
Yeah, Junk, definitely a hard worker.
Hard worker.
Mm-hmm. Is there anyone that specific you would like to have a next feature with?
Like dream feature, or like what I'm like actually trying to work on?
Both.
Dream feature. Honestly, I used to listen to this man from Saga, Mississauga, Ontario, JD Era. I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
Many
but,
episodes. Yes.
I used to listen to his mixtapes when I was on my way to work, and it would just be super cool to connect with him in the studio now, like seeing where he was at. I listened, like I said, to his mixtape daily on repeat every day to work. And I was actually just touching back. Not even that long ago, like a couple months ago, I searched him up because I'm like, I wonder what that guy's doing. I haven't heard him in a long time, and he's still doing his thing. So, and that's a local Canadian.
There's lots of amazing local Canadians out in Ontario. Now,
Yes.
I've been out there quite a bit. One of the people I still have never met that is definitely an older favorite of mine, DL Incognito. Ever heard of him?
Pardon, say that again? It cut out.
Oh, have you ever heard of DL Incognito?
DL Incognito. I haven't. I will have to educate myself.
Yeah, he's one of the people out there that I've, being someone who's more out west of Canada, I've always admired him. So, yeah, there's lots of great artists out that way. And I think that it's really important to, never give up and think that, no matter how much bigger they've grown, that you can always grow and be able to work with them. You just got to reach out and ask. That's all it
100%.
takes. You either get a yes or you get a no.
100%. And a lot of times you may get that no. Speaking of reaching out to big artists, Vinny Paz, we were talking a little bit through Instagram like a year ago, and we had been talking, and it was just super random how we got connected. Probably just good timing, but we were talking, and then it got into like features, and that was one of the ones that was like, hey man, I'm not doing features right now, but in the future there could be opportunity. So that was I've definitely felt that there's yes and no's like all the time, and you're gonna get that everywhere you go in the music industry. You can't let the no's bring you back, because there's no's in every aspect that you're gonna come to a crossroads with.
Yeah. And I'm not gonna lie, Vinny Paz is on my dream list for artists to work with.
Yeah, seriously. Box Cutter Pazzi. He's a mogul for the
That
underground
heavy
industry,
Italian
especially.
voice, just like it gets to me. I hear it and I'm
Very,
just like, I know it's him.
yeah, yeah, he's very, very distinctive. Very, very distinctive. I listen to Armada Pharaohs and shit too. And
AOTP and Jedi Mind Tricks, absolutely. For you, how about you? You stand out. How do you feel as an artist that you separate yourself different than others?
um, a lot of people I've noticed, they compliment me on my rhythm and my cadence, where I'm able to punctuate everything, and no matter how fast or slow I'm going, my punctuation has always been a key to my artistry for 100%. And when I'm writing, honestly, just trying to keep it simple. Like sometimes a lot of people, when they're writing a song, and myself is like included, everybody, they overcomplicate sometimes, and when it comes to listening back, you find that it doesn't feel natural sometimes. And that was my big curve for me, that I had to learn when I was writing, because before I just write, and then I got these really long verses and the hooks and stuff, but you really want what you're saying to connect and punch, so you want to give it that air and really air it out. And I find that for myself especially. Obviously not speaking for everybody, but just being punctual, I would say is one of my big keys, and that I've found my success, and keeping it short and sweet. Like you got to realize it's a song, right? And not everybody wants to listen to a 5-minute song. They only want a 2-minute song. So you keep it short and sweet. You get your hooks, your bridges, and your chorus, and everything goes together, and you're on point with your topic, and you create a mood, and you're able to create an emotion that sparks a connection with people. Is a big thing with songwriting, for sure.
Absolutely. That's a really good strength to have, and for people to, point that out and recognize about you. Do you have any fans who reach out to you and say, like a certain song that you did really touch them and, made a difference?
So the first time I ever received a message that was from a follower, that he told me that a song of mine saved his life. It was a very punctual time, because that was the first time I ever had somebody reach out to me and be like, your music helped me. And that was with Ghost of Love. It's on YouTube and Spotify, under Devin Turcott, D3VO, space TURCOTTE. That's my real name. So that's what my YouTube's under, and my Spotify, if you want to go check it out. It's a heartfelt track. Like I'm on the verses, and my other sister and my producer's girlfriend sing the choruses for me. And it really, it was my first track, I think, that I ever wrote that was actually like touching my soul, because I had a lot of emotion in it. It was coming out of high school. I was in a long-term relationship, kind of went sour, and I was able to channel that energy into a song. And now we got Ghost of Love. That's honestly, in my opinion, one of my best songs I've ever done. And I got some of the best feedback, and I had a lot of people tell me that like this song they listen to the song, and it helps them in days of feeling down or feeling up. And that was super cool. That was one of the first songs where I ever received any attention like that. So
Awesome. Uh, have you performed many shows or performed at
I've done
festivals?
actually. I've done quite a bit of shows. I haven't done any festivals yet. I had a few festival um, bookings where it was talking in the works, but just travel came in between it, and travel and accommodation. So I've opened up for members like Token. I opened up for Hobson, Swollen
Nice.
members. Um, I've done quite a bit of shows, even just like local shows around Calgary in BC, and Ontario, and that's a big thing too. Is getting out to shows, and I've actually had people comment on that too, like stage presence, and the fact that I've put in the time to do all these local smaller gigs, and just networking that way, and building comfortability and cadence with stage presence, and the whole live performance. That's a whole nother ball game too. Like, you're in the studio and you're isolated and you're by yourself, you're in your zone, you got your lights going, you got whatever, you're feeling the vibe. But when you're live, you have to create that vibe, and
Yep.
really rely on yourself to get that crowd going, and create that. And like, everybody has good and bad shows. I've had shows where you get off stage and you're like, fuck. But I've also had shows where you get off stage and you're shaking with adrenaline, and it was crazy. Actually, my last show I did in Ottawa was one of the first times that I had the crowd singing along with me and knew the words to my songs, and really had crowd engagement, that they were able to sing back my tracks. It was my song "Out My Way," which is available on YouTube as well. It was the most epic feeling, to be honest. It was like I said, it was like the first time that I ever had crowd engagement like that, where the crowd was that into it, and knew the lyrics to my songs, and were singing back to me. So
That's so awesome. It's such a enlightening feeling when you've got people who not only love your music, but they can actually sing it back to you word for word.
seriously, it makes you feel some type of way. Like, honestly, I was like, shit, this is nuts. Like, I had the whole crowd singing with me, and that feeling is like no other feeling. I've never felt a feeling like that before, and I only plan for the crowds to get bigger, and more people to be singing along with them, whether they're at home, or driving in their car, or they're actually live in front of me. It's just cool to know that I do have people out there that do know my songs, and they do recognize me as an artist, and they feel for my music like I feel for my music.
That's awesome. And you know what? It obviously really shows. For yourself looking forward into the future, what would you like for yourself? Are you looking for maybe when it's
My
post-COVID and after, maybe like a tour or do shows in the States?
I'm a COVID survivor, actually, and
Awesome.
but post COVID, like, this has been crazy, especially for performances and live gigs. We had Young Stitch booked for his Dark Clouds tour that I was opening up for those, and yeah, like, that's just one of the shows that had gotten canceled, and that was just a small little tour. And I've had like other gigs, local and abroad, that I've had to be canceled because of the mandates and not being vaccinated. So moving forward is just getting back to that, and on the other side of things, really focusing on the production and engineering, and learning how to make beats. That's a big thing that I want to get into. I got an Akai MPK Mini, just a 25 key, eight pad little controller that I'm hoping I can start doing some things with, and start making some beats. Obviously, it's just like the music; it takes time to get comfortable and get to a point where I would be using any of my beats, or anybody else would be using that beats, if that ever happens. But yeah, just focusing on the building side of things, as far as behind the scenes of the music. So I'm not just an artist that can only come to the studio and record vocals. I really want to get into like learning instruments more, learning the piano better, learning the drums better, the guitar better, and just really broadening my musical talents.
That's really smart of you. Lots of producers will always say to artists, as you grow and you learn, sometimes part of the maturity of an artist is also learning an instrument and learning how to know and understand things like music theory, stuff like that. So that you can, follow music theory, but you also know how to break it up and be broken with it, right?
100%.
So it just makes, understanding the balance just different.
Totally. And you understand, like, I learned that kind of the hard way, because I had put so much time into learning the writing factor and just the actual rapping, and now I'm at a point where like, I want to take music lessons, I want to take singing lessons to strengthen my voice. There's a lot of things that I want to do to improve myself as a all-around artist, because it really is, music is an art, and it's not just one thing. It's, they say you want to become a musician, but you didn't learn about the digital side of everything, where you have to learn how to create all your covers and your merchandise and marketing and promotion and advertising and the instruments of everything, and just there's a lot to it. And that's the great part about it, is you can never stop learning. You can always be taking different avenues, and yeah, it's lifelong. It doesn't stop, and that's really the cool thing for me about it.
Well, the music industry is a business.
100%.
What in this business have you learned that you would want somebody to learn for themselves?
Invest in yourself. Always bet on you. Always put forth the effort that you want others to put forth in yourself, because you got to lead by example, and you really got to believe in yourself, because before anybody else is going to believe in you, you got to believe in yourself. So
100%.
And really branding, creating a brand, and learning how to distribute your brand. As far as business aspects, that would be 100% my knowledge on that.
And in this world of COVID right now, for those who I would say are having a hard time, whether it's being creative or feeling very emotional with music, what would you say to them? What have you done to keep going and growing and believing in yourself?
That goes back to building my own studio, because now at any given time when I feel some type of way, or I have an emotion and I have an idea, I have my space to do that. It's not, I found with going to, like, it's always cool. Like, I still go hit up other studios and shit, for sure, and work with other engineers and work with other people, because I can learn stuff from them, and it's different environments and different aspects of everything. But definitely would be having my own space to catch those feelings and emotions live, because you can write something and then memorize it and memorize it and memorize it and memorize it, and then by the time you get to the studio, you're not going to have that raw emotion. I have a tribute track that's for my buddy Quincy J. He was a very close friend of mine who we lost a few years back, and I ended up writing a tribute for him. It's not released on all platforms right now, but that's another song that I had people reach out to me and say, like, this is incredible, and like, I have a lot of people that tell me when they listen to it makes the hair rise on their body and gives them goosebumps, and that's really, I learned when I recorded that song, because I actually went to his producer to record it. So I was going with like his people, and I hit up the studio that he recorded at, and I had this song, and the engineer really had to point out the fact that drop the rapper voice at this point, because it was a really emotional song, and I find a lot of times too, like, we become comfortable with our sound, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. And for that specific track, you didn't want that. You wanted the raw emotion. You wanted to kind of be less
slow
rapping,
it down. Yeah.
More talky, slow it down, let it come from the soul. And I really felt my heart on that one, and that was one of the songs that like really changed things for me, because it showed me an artist that I didn't know inside of myself. Like, I really seen a different avenue, and that song made me want to branch into learning more about vocal techniques and singing more, and really practicing more as far as techniques to singing and making songs and vocals in general, because they're just like everything else. There's tricks to vocal performances, and if you don't practice and you don't there's it's like everything, right?
Absolutely. And that's also part of growing as an artist and learning to be more versatile, is once you feel like you found your sound, there's actually more to you. There's more complexity. There's more changes that you can create. And that's what actually I admire about young Stitch. He has a sick track coming out with my homegirl back home in Calgary, Alberta. I can't release anything without their permission, but I heard it. I heard a different side of him where he slowed it down, and it's an amazing track. Those are the things that you get to see different sides of artists really shine. You take in different sides of them that you're like, wow, I didn't expect to not just only hear, your words sound like that, but just like how you really made it change the story.
100%. That's one thing I do notice a lot with Stitch, is his storytelling and just his ability to really make you feel what he's saying. And yeah, I'm excited. I'll have to keep an ear out for that one. I peep all of his stuff, not gonna lie, but yeah. I'm gonna be. Do you know when or how soon that's gonna be coming out? Is that a super soon thing, or can
I
you
don't
talk?
think she has it super soon. Um, oh, I don't think I really have exact details to say, but I know that she is in the finishing process, as well as it isn't mixed and mastered yet. I have
Which
heard
is
only the
huge.
raw version, and it's
Yeah.
already beautiful. I've had
Oh,
moments where I'm like, I can't wait to hear where this part has more acoustic in it because your voice sounds so great.
yeah. No,
Right?
100%. And like I was saying previously, the mix and master and the engineer is so key, so key. I've released a couple songs uh, that, I jumped the gun on the mix and master, and they just sounded so good, and just in the raw form. And I've slipped them out, and looking back at it, yeah, probably it's maybe not the best decision musically as far as the business, but at the end of the day, that's the great part about having the control over your music, is you can make decisions like that. And you know what?
They're learning lessons,
They're learning lessons. Yeah, 100%, 100%. You don't wanna forget any aspects of anything when it comes, and that's been a big learning curve for me as far as structuring songs and actually learning the background to making a record, right? So
Yeah. Well, for everyone that's wanting to get in touch with you or see and listen to more of your music, how can they find you? What social media links?
I'm on Spotify, I'm on Apple Music, I'm on YouTube, SoundCloud, all under Devin Turcott. On Facebook, my Facebook page is under D3VO, D3VO. So that's the most prominent platforms that I'm on, but I'm looking this year to be on a lot more platforms and available on every available platform as far as streaming.
Awesome. Well, Diva, I really appreciate you coming on here and chatting up the storm with me, getting to know you better as an artist. So
Thank you for having me. Always, every time, take the opportunity to support the scene. So that's huge, and I appreciate the invite, and I had a really good time.
Me too. All right. Well, you have a great night. Thank you, everybody, for watching. My name is Linz, and this is Support the Scene. Thanks for watching. This is Support the Scene. Make sure to subscribe, hit the bell, follow, and share.